Hi guys, welcome to 9 Links. This is your host Alex, and I got a little helper today, Elena. And today I'm going to show you how to repot orange jasmine. And as you can see, this one is growing pretty big over the years, well actually 2 years for this pot. So we're going to repot this guy, and right now remember it's springtime, getting into the spring, so we need to repot the plant in springtime, okay? Okay, before we repot this, we're going to look over the plants real quick and get the, bless you, get the plants ready. Okay, first thing, this is orange jasmine, okay? As you can see, the leaves and stuff, it's been, I'm probably going to start it of spring. After it flower, I'm probably going to trim it down, prune it a little bit. But as you can see, this pot, it's probably not big enough for it, so we're going to change it. And first thing with the potting mix we're going to use is I'm going to use this New Zealand sphagnum moss, and combine with the well, this pot right there, but combine with this fertilizer right down here, Osmocote. So we're going to use these two to repot the orange jasmine. And also I've been working on the organic fertilizer, well, mainly rice water for the for this year. As you can see, I already got these 3 containers set up, and just give them roughly about 1 month. And once all the water has been good to go, then we can start using them. But for now, let's just repot this, and we need to get ready. So I'm gonna soak the sphagnum moss inside the. Now the water is not dirty, okay? These is rainwater, so some of the stuff it collect on the bottom, just just the dust. So it's fine. So we're gonna just throw the whole entire sphagnum moss in there, let it soak for about 30 minutes, and then we'll go come back and repot this. You can throw it in there right now. Just throw it in there. The whole thing. Yeah, whole thing. Yeah, just drop it in. Yeah, this thing will become really big. Yeah, no need to push. It's okay. Let's go. We'll come back later. Okay, so all right, you can see now the sphagnum moss down there. It's all pretty much soaked, and we're ready to repot the orange jasmine. Okay, first thing about repotting, make sure you have a new pot. Of course, got a new pot right here. And also, when I repot stuff, I like to put stuff like a plastic tray with some kind of newspaper below, so it will collect the dust and stuff like this fall off. It makes cleaning a lot easier. So first thing first, we're gonna, for this pot, we're gonna fill up sphagnum moss in the bottom. So we probably get it up to here, and then we take the orange jasmine out and put it in the middle, and then surround it with the sphagnum moss. But before we put the sphagnum moss down, we also gonna use the slow release fertilizer, mix in there with the sphagnum moss as well. Now I'm pretty sure a lot of people gonna question me, why would you want to mix this with the sphagnum moss? You have to remember, sphagnum moss itself doesn't have any nutrient for the plants. What I like about sphagnum moss is it's clean, it's very absorbent in the water, and also provide really good room for plants' roots to breathe. It's not very, and also this is acidic for the tropical plants. Most tropical plants love acidic mix, and these guys, they last a long time. And also these potting mix, they are not heavy, so the pot is heavy already. You do not want to mix another heavy stuff in there. I mean, it makes carry a lot harder, but these guys are really nice. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get some sphagnum moss in here. And the bottom, make sure when you use the sphagnum moss, squeeze the water out. Not all the way out, just, just like that. Because if it's too wet, it's gonna be soggy. And so it's like this, it's good enough. And remember, once we finish potting this, we for most of the time when you repot stuff, most experts would recommend you water your plants afterward. I typically don't do that because I use sphagnum moss and it has water in it already. And the first thing when you repot is you let your new plant, the newly potted plant, time to recover. So the last thing you want to do is you dump a bunch of water on the top of that. It's already, what shall I say? It already been disturbed. So if you want to throw more water on it, you're going to cause more stress. And sometimes repotted plant takes a while to get back to growing. For me, when I do that, my expectation is probably give it about 1 week. It should be back to growing. All right, now you probably ask me, how do I going to mix these into the sphagnum moss? I don't mix a lot of it in it, especially on the bottom. Okay, now the way I put my slow release fertilizer into the pot is that on the bottom, like right now I have sphagnum moss down on the bottom. I don't put a lot on the bottom. I put a little bit, just a little bit. The reason being is that most of the time the plant's gonna stay up here. Let me show you. The plant's gonna stay up here and the root's gonna grow out like this. So over in the middle section, I tend to put more slow release fertilizer. And also when you put too much in the bottom, you notice I put the slow fertilizer up here, not all the way in the bottom. Because if you do put all the way in the bottom, the first thing when you water it, then the fertilizer is not gonna reach the plants, it's gonna go out. So it's gonna leach out. Okay, we're gonna ready and mix more sphagnum moss in there. Okay guys, so we got it to halfway. So now this what I call the setting spot for the orange jasmine. So we're gonna put a little bit more over here, and then now we're gonna take orange jasmine out of the pot. Now there are a couple ways. Here, let me move this to a side so you can see what I'm doing. There are a couple ways to move this one out of the pot. The first one is that I watered this yesterday already, so I think it's probably pop bound. So what you do is you twist the pop to the side. If you have a plastic container, it's even easier. You just squeeze it and it'll come out. So for me, I don't have plastic, right, as you can see. So what you do is you just wedge back and forth, holding on to the main stem right here. Don't hold on to a side stem, it will break off. Hold on to the main, support your hand like this or like this, slowly, and there it goes. Now you see, this one is not as bad. It's not fully pop bound. You see, if it's really pop bound, you'll see all roots everywhere. This one, it's about to get pop bound. You see the bottom? You see how much roots down here, and all those white roots, they are very healthy. That's good. So now we're gonna put this one inside the. Aaron, can you move this pot for me? Just push to the side. This one, yeah, push to the side. Yes, and push the big one over. Yes. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so we're gonna put this one on here. Notice how I get the here. I'll just put it right here for now. We'll throw it away later. Okay. Okay. Notice how the plant just barely. Here, let me show you on the side. Barely make it on top. That's good. Most of the time when you repot your plant, make sure to keep it about this much below the top of the line. So that way when you next time water, the water will go in. If you pot it all the way up here, then when you water it, the water comes off. Okay, so now we're gonna stuff more sphagnum moss on the side and the slow release fertilizer. And also use a stick to pot on the side. Also, people might ask me, why do you repot your plants and you don't take off older potting mix and then just get to clean the roots out a little bit and then let them sit in there like most potting channel will tell you. The way they do it is, I call it hard potting. What it is actually get rid of old potting mix and then you start out brand new. The way I do it is that I just upgrade the container. So I leave the roots undisturbed. Well, I mean, we disturb a little bit by removing it out of the pot. This kind of repotting does not disturb the roots too much. The plant usually sometime right away the plant will start growing, start expanding the roots into the new mix. The other way that I talked about earlier is that when people take off old potting mix and just start out brand new fresh, that that kind of potting, it causes more disturbance on the roots. You basically remove everything and try to ask it to fit into a new environment. And also another thing you have to be aware that is that for most plants, the old potting mix gave them a better, what should I say, more comfortable to grow, because most potting mix have old bacteria in it already, so they are more comfortable with their old environment. So by taking all those adequate environment and put in a new mix, and that way I would probably get about, if you do it like that, probably give about a week, maybe or two, for plants to get used to it. And if you overwater during those critical moments, plant might die. It might stress out more. So now there's a downside to what I'm doing right now. The downside of the way I'm potting this is that, I mean, of course, nothing's always good. The downside is that every time it has a root form like this, I expand the container so the root will grow out a little bit more. In terms of the plant health, it's going to be maintained like this, or it's going to get better. But if you were to do a brand new repotting, take everything off and just repot into the brand new mix, get rid of old mix, clean the roots. If you do it successfully, the plant will grow a lot faster and it'll grow a lot bigger, because you are trimming all the roots off. So the roots is not in a root ball, they expand out. But when they do expand out, they eventually will reach the container's boundary again. So you have to repot it again. So the way I do it like this is that the good thing about this kind of repotting method is that, like I said earlier, it's called upgrade. I just upgrade the pot, and upgrade the potting mix a little bit, put some nutrients in it, and they still remain as the same as before, not much of difference. So faster recovery. Okay, let me put this one in there a little bit more. And like I say again, I typically don't rewater my plants after I finish repotting. Yeah, some people might say you might be better if you rewater it, but most of the time if you have sphagnum moss, it's different. Sphagnum moss, the thing about it is that it holds water, but it breathe through. It's breathe through. But if you buy those potting mix from the like Home Depot and Walmart, the Miracle Growth, they have a nutrient in it, yes, but they are peat moss. What peat moss is basically a broke down version of sphagnum moss. You can think of it this way: sphagnum moss, this is like a rock. Peat moss is like dust. Dust coming from the rock. It's not a premium anymore. But so that's why sometimes the potting mix, if you water it, it's very easy to have a root rot for the plant, because those are not good as a sphagnum moss. Now, of course, this kind of experience is very subjective. Some people maybe heavily believe in what they use for their potting mix, and that's just my belief. Okay, don't just say okay, this is the right way to do things. Many ways to do things, and you just have to find the way it works for you. If it works for you, hey, do it for yourself. Just do it that way. I mean, this worked for me. I find that sphagnum moss is very, especially New Zealand. Again, I'm not affiliated with the New Zealand sphagnum moss brand. I just thought this brand is very nice, and the moss I got from them is usually premium. And over the time, when the sphagnum moss form on top, you can see the old one. It turns green. It grows, kind of like mossy appearance. And from what I like about these is that it gives you like a very natural look to your plants that's potted in there. It's very natural, and also sphagnum moss, when it dries up on top, the middle is still wet, but top is dry. It prevents fungus gnats going in. Okay, guys, just finished. Okay, now I'm going to just show you real quick. See, notice how the surrounding area is about this much below the pot. So next time when you water, the water will soak in and come out. You see it on the side, it's already showing water, it's in there. So we're done, and I'm just gonna put it back and let it grow. And if you have any questions, just please post your comment below. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.